I'm Travis Monroe, owner of Monroe Film and Photo, and today I'm going to talk about using a gimbal during the wedding day. Using a gimbal, it's a great tool, no doubt about it. You can get some amazing shots with it. But at the same time, too, there's a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into using a gimbal. This is why I only have certain scenarios where I really like to use the gimbal. Otherwise, I'm going handheld or even on sticks, depending on what we're doing. But as much of a great tool the gimbal is, it's definitely overused in this industry. And so I want to chat about how we can avoid those things. The biggest thing that I see with people using gimbals is that they use it all day and they're doing the same shots over and over. And that's totally understandable because you never know what shots you're going to use throughout the wedding day. So you kind of find yourself just kind of doing the same shots over and over just to make sure that you have one or two of those moves. Things like just simply moving back and forth, maybe doing like kind of a little circle around guests and couples and stuff like that. Different things that you just find yourself you're repeating over and over. When I use the gimbal to help kind of mix it up, I try to find moments that it makes sense that we're going to want those smooth motions. So when I'm first going to break out the gimbal is actually when I first arrive. What I want to do with the gimbal as well as at the beginning of the video is I want to keep a nice calm vibe. So that's why I like using the gimbal during the getting ready stuff. It's definitely a great time to kind of get some of those detailed shots like with the dress or the flowers and things like that. So you can get some nice pan and tilts with your gimbal on that. And like I said, it's kind of that icebreaker. People understand right away that you're not the photographer, you're the videographer because you're carrying this big bulky thing, versus just a little camera. So it's definitely, it kind of helps set the mood with everyone, for everyone to understand who you are and what you're going to be doing on the wedding day. But then also you can get a lot of those nice detailed shots. I'm going to keep using the gimbal then until the bride and groom, they do their first look. And then typically after first look, they're going to roll right into some bridal photos. So that's when I'm going to keep using it because I want them to look amazing. That's when I want those cinematic shots of them. So that's when I'm going to keep my gimbal going for the most part. And I'm going to do some of those nice pans and tilts and the gimbal is going to look amazing. Once the bridal party comes out though, then I'm going to be putting the gimbal down and I'm going to be going handheld because that's when things kind of pick up and things can get a little crazier and chaotic. And those shots, I'm not as concerned about having them look as smooth. I want kind of more of that authenticity that going handheld can bring. The next time I'm going to be picking up the gimbal is during the ceremony. When we film a ceremony, we start off in the back with the gimbal and we follow the guest in and follow in the bridal party. So we stay in the back, we do a nice big pan and tilt, follow them in. And then when the bride comes in, then that's where we do the same thing. But then once she's about halfway down the aisle and the photographer has had a chance to get a few photos, we sneak in behind them and then we can get a nice cool overhead shot. And also I do this because everyone's going to be standing up at that point, and 99% of the time your cameras are going to be blocked. And since we are out there solo shooting, I want to make sure that I don't have my shot blocked, and I will plant myself in the middle of the aisle with the gimbal and I will stand there until everyone is seated. That can be painful sometimes because if it's a newer officiant or maybe more of a religious ceremony where they have a few different things going on, sometimes you're standing there for 10-15 minutes just holding the camera steady and knowing that that might be the only shot you have. And that's just what we're going to have to do with that. But we're going to want to stay in the middle there, keep our gimbal nice and tight, and get some nice framing with that. Then I'm going to go ahead, step back, lock it down, and the next time that I'm going to be on the gimbal in the ceremony again is right before they kiss. I'm going to quickly grab my gimbal, get back down the middle of the aisle so I can capture that kiss and walk out of the venue with them. I always love getting that shot with them, and then also I'll just continue walking and walk back with them. It's always a great moment to kind of catch it, and then it feels kind of more behind the scenes for the couple. The next time I'm going to bust out the gimbal is going to be then during the grand march, and plain and simple, same thing. So I can follow everyone in, depending on the setup of the venue. I'm either going to be off to the side, just kind of going like that with the couples as they're coming in, and then following in the bride and groom once they kind of get past a certain point. It just kind of depends. I don't have a set strategy on it other than, okay, this is where this is how the venue is, and this is how much room I have to operate. The next time I'm going to be picking up the gimbal is going to be during first dances. This is pivotal for us because this is when we can get some amazing shots. We typically shoot 3 cameras during the first dance, so you're going to have a medium shot and a wide shot, and then the gimbal is going to be all the creative stuff. So I'll be wandering around doing my best to make sure that I'm not standing in front of my own cameras, as well as working around the photographer, but I'll be getting all sorts of creative shots. Other times I'm just more focused on the bride and groom, especially if they have some sort of special dance setup that they practice on and they're moving around quite a bit, then I'm just going to be focused on following the action. If they're more just dancing in the middle there, then I'm going to be focused more on like getting those creative shots. I don't want to see at the end of the day is just this gimbal just pointing at them and again just moving back and forth, back and forth. This is your time to be creative. So I want to see shots of like head to toe, back and forth. Really, this is where we can spice up the dance when we deliver it for them, and as well as getting some great shots for their trailer. Finally, the last time I'm going to use the gimbal on the wedding day is again the sunset shots. When we're trying to get just the bride and groom, get some nice shots of them, then that's when I'm going to want to utilize it as well. Same purpose for earlier, it's just getting some nice cinematic shots. I don't always do it, but 99% of the time I'm going to want to use my gimbal on that so I can just get those nice smooth shots where we're going to slow them down and they're going to look epic. All right, I hope you found this video informative as far as when you can be using your gimbal throughout the wedding day, and please stay tuned for our other tutorials.